Welcome to the last live stream of the regular season. It is BettingPros NFL live stream week 18. Andrew Erickson, Matt Perrault with you guys for 30 or so minutes, breaking down a very interesting day in the NFL. Andrew, how are you? How are the holidays? Are you shoveling at all today?
Not yet. You know, my strategy is I usually just let it fall out first, and then usually my landlord will take out the snowblower, and then I'll come in and help with the shovel, show that I'm trying my best. But ultimately, I'm going to let them, the big guns, take care of the heavy snow.
How much snow are you guys getting? Like, are we talking feet?
Yes, we are talking in the feet variety. So 12 inches, but luckily got the groceries earlier this morning. So we're all good. We got the bread and milk. We're going to survive. We're going to be okay. And what better way to wait out the snowstorm than just watching football all day?
Man, I missed it by a week. Just a week. I just got out of there in time or I would have been buried. My daughter is very upset though, because we were in New England, in Boston, in New York for 9 days and not a lick of snow, nothing. And now she's like, wait a minute, there's a foot in Boston. I'm like, yeah, there's a foot in Boston. She's like, that's such garbage. We should have been there when we were there. So, you know, speaking of garbage, there's a lot of garbage today to get through with these games. Let's start with Atlanta and New Orleans. This game is wow. 3, and I mean solidly 3. It has not moved for a couple of days now. The total is 41.5. There's been a little movement here back as it hit 41. We've come back up to 41.5 here with Atlanta and New Orleans. Obviously, playoff implications here. Okay, yesterday, everyone was on the Ravens. Nope. Steelers winning cover. Today, everyone is on Atlanta. I backed them the last couple of weeks, and I've been getting burned. I want to take Atlanta, but I can't pull the trigger as of yet. Where are you on Saints Falcons?
Bet the under. That's the way I like it. Again, it's weird that it's a dome game where there's no weather. It's like you think, okay, we got these offenses that they have explosive playmakers, but I just don't like the quarterback. Like Desmond Ridder starting this game. Taylor Heineke's out with his ankle injury, so Desmond Ridder's going to start on the road. What do we know about Desmond Ridder on the road? He doesn't play as well. Like the Falcons don't play as well as a unit on the road. So I get Arthur Smith's job's on the line. It doesn't matter. I really think that whoever loses this game, the coach is probably going to get fired. and there's a chance that it doesn't even matter because if the Buccaneers take care of business, then it doesn't matter which one of these teams actually wins this game. So for me, it's an under. I think you're going to just see kind of accumulation of why these teams have struggled so much all year long. And when you have two underwhelming teams going at it, I avoid sides. And I just bet against both of them by betting the under on the game.
Yeah, it's fair. In terms of prop betting today, not every game's got full menus. Some games have nothing. You can bet for prop bets, but how do you approach the prop market in a week like this, in a game like this? Like you mentioned, where both coaches have their jobs on the line, but under for the game. Do you bet under on the player props as well?
Yeah, because you never know if a player, I have this small tweak, you're going to sit. That player's just not going to play. Like they know it's the last week of the season. They know that a lot of these players, this is their last game. So it's like, I'm not going to go gut it out when we can't make the playoffs. Like we're a long shot to make the postseason anyway. We're going to get knocked out next week anyway. So when guys get, I think, nicked up in this game, you're not going to see them come back. So I think that if there's ever a week where you really want to sweep the board with player prop unders, this is the week to do so. Like, don't be aggressive on some of these higher numbered games, especially with some of these player props.
I punted on the whole week. I sat last night and I was doing research.
I mean, there are a lot of bad ones. Like that's the thing, that there's not a lot to pick from either. So it's like, unless you really have a strong feeling, especially on an under, I would just avoid player props this week.
Yeah, I went and looked at it. I was doing research last night after I taped the Daily Juice, and I was just like, I on the juice, I was like, I think I might punt on it. And I was like, that inclination, I started looking at the numbers, I started looking at the games, and I was like, this is completely up in the air as to what these teams are going to do. If they're in the postseason and these guys are playing defensive guys, we saw it yesterday with the Ravens. Like they played their defense, but they really didn't. Like they weren't really overly aggressive. I thought they had chances to blitz Mason Rudolph even more than they did. It's just teams aren't going to do anything that's going to hurt their chances going forward. So if they're in the playoffs, and then you say, well, bet the teams that are going to be trying to make the postseason. Okay, but those numbers are all jacked. Like the books know this. So they're laying all these really high numbers to bet over. And I just don't feel comfortable betting a ton of unders today in terms of with weather, maybe. But yeah, I'm just going to kick out on the entire weekend here for player props. Cincinnati hosting Cleveland. This is my first play of the day. I have pulled the Bengals down from 7.5 down to 1.5. You can pull it down to 1 right now. There's some late money coming in here on the Browns. Total is a whopping 37 in this game, Andrew. Everyone likes the Bengals. Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think the Browns feel like they've earned like the day off. Like they've played so well with Flacco. It's like, guys, like we really don't care about this game. Like they're on the road too, so it's not like they're playing in front of the home crowd. It's like, and we know their defense this year has been horrible on the road anyway. So you're taking away starters. Again, if anything, I like the over in this game because it is so low, and Bengals games have been shooting over. We talked about the Browns. All the Browns games on the road have gone over, and it's because their defense plays bad. And I don't think that they're going to take away key starters, and now the defense is suddenly going to play better. So the Bengals, yes, are out of the postseason, but everything that they've said is, hey, Jake Browning, like this is my last chance to play. Like I want to go out on a high note because I'm losing my job next year. And Joe Burrow, like Jamar Chase is going to play in this game. So when you have those explosive playmakers, I think that the total is actually really low at 37.5. So I do like the over. If I don't want to lay and now it's 7.5. So winning by more than a touchdown. Now it's asking, I think, a little bit much, but because again, they can't bench everybody. Like people have to understand that. Like you have to start some of your starts, even in yesterday's game with the Ravens. Like there were defensive starters for the Ravens playing in the game because you can only have so many guys inactive that don't actually suit up. So they're not going to, the players on the field aren't just going to give up. They're going to try. So I do think that the over is probably the way that I would approach this game, or the Bengals team total over. I think it's another way to approach it.
Yeah. 53-man roster. You got to play somebody. That game has a little weather. There's only 2 games on the board that have weather concerns. We'll get to the other one in a second, but Cincinnati and Cleveland, it's going to be cold. It's January in Cleveland, Ohio. It's going to be cold. Showers, snow showers, light wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour. Nothing that really would scare me a ton, considering that's one of the more windy stadiums in the entire NFL. Nothing really to worry about too much. It's a little bit of a concern, but nothing crazy there. All right. The Jets and the Patriots. This is the swan song for Bill Belichick, in my opinion. There is money coming in on both sides. FanDuel's at 1.5, DraftKings at 2.5. Okay. To give you an idea, you don't normally see an opportunity to middle this. I've taken -2. I think money line is a really good play here. The total is really, really low. It's 28.5. It's 28 now at offshore books. This would be the lowest total in, I think, the last 25 years if this does close at 28, and the weather is a monster concern. It's going to snow. It's going to snow hard. It's going to be windy with sustained winds and gusts up to 35 miles per hour, which screams under. Look, if you like the Jets, you can take the 2, tease it up to 8 and take the total, go up to 34.5 and take under. This game's going to be really ugly. I'm going with the fighting Belichick's here, Andrew. They're going to send Bill out with a W. 16 straight against the Jets. What do you call today for Patriots Jets?
I have no confidence in handicapping this game whatsoever. I'm just gonna watch it and just kind of like see how things play out. I guess for me, I'm looking at more of it's like, I think the best value is probably just Jets money line, because this is a game where I think it should come down to one play. Like who rips off that one play where there's a broken tackle, and when you look at the two teams, who actually has a guy on the offense that the other team's actually afraid of? The Jets have 2. The Patriots have 0.
Yeah, but the quarterback is a problem. I mean, the quarterback's
Bailey
horrible.
Zappi,
no,
he's a problem too.
I know, but Bailey Zappi over the list. So you're not buying at all the win at Denver. You're not buying at all the win at home on the road against the Steelers. You're not buying any of that.
No.
Wow.
He's a turnover machine. I don't think that.
On the road he is, but he turned the ball over 5 times last week in the first half, and they almost won the game.
But they didn't. They still.
But
lost.
they almost. They covered. I mean, it's unbelievable that the Bills were at home and the Bills could not. That game should have been 50-7 with the turnovers the Patriots had. I think the defense is the story for the Patriots in this game. I think Belichick coaches a master class in defense, and the Jets could absolutely. I mean, maybe they get 10 points today.
Well, then maybe I would look at it more as the Patriots, an alternate spread, where if I really think that the Patriots are going to, because I don't want to go this down to like a nail biter in the fourth quarter where it's like one play that's going to decide the game, where it's like, if I really think the Patriots defense can show up big here, give me Patriots -6.5, like alternate that, spread it up. So you think, hey, if the Patriots defense dominates here, then they should win by like a touchdown. So if I'm looking for the max payout for a game that could go either way in terms of randomness because of the weather, because of all the factors. I'm looking for the biggest payout for a game where there's a lot of other factors. I think that's the way I would look at it. If I wasn't going to play sides, I'd be like, you know
Right.
what? Patriots are going to win big here. They are going to send Belichick out here. Don't just give me the money line. Give me a big win for the Patriots at home.
Is Bill gone?
Yes. Yeah, he's gone. They're already scheduling the Monday firing meeting tomorrow with Robert Kraft.
What if he's not?
I just think he is. I just think
Yeah,
this is the
I do
perfect
too.
time to break ties. Like,
The only way I can see Bill Belichick staying with New England is if he's willing to accept essentially just the coaching role. And I don't know how you go from being the GM and being the guy that picks everything to being told who is going to be on your roster at 72 years old.
I mean, it's like asking Jerry Jones, like, "Hey, Jerry, you're just going to be the owner now." It's like, no, I'm not doing that.
The decision, the calculus by the Patriots, it's like, look, Bill, you can stay, but you're going to be relieved of your GM duties. And he's like, yeah, I'm out. Goodbye, guys. See you later. And that's when that report came out that there was mutual desire to part ways, because it lets the Patriots say, hey, we tried to keep him. We just told him he had to be the coach only, and he wasn't cool with that. So we're going to part. It's just the term mutual. Tomorrow, I think the term's going to be that the Patriots and Bill Belichick have both mutually agreed to part ways. Like, they don't want the word fired attached to the decision. Best coach in the history of the sport. If you're Robert Kraft, you really don't want to be known as the guy that fired Bill Belichick, because he's going to go and win next year wherever he goes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a given. Belichick's going to go to a good job. I think he'll be in the playoffs next year. And everyone who's a Patriot fan just has to kind of suck it up and deal with that reality. Like, just Brady did it. Belichick's going to do it. And you just have to kind of say thank you for the time and thank you for what you've done, because defensively, Bill still has the fastball. And that's why I like the Patriots to go ahead and beat the Jets today, because they can't score on anybody. Early games continuing. Jacksonville and Tennessee. This is the other side of my teaser. I'm giving Jacksonville Tennessee 10.5 points here. Now, okay, I had some information wrong on this. How does this game affect the Steelers and the Bills? Because I thought if the Jags won, someone told me if the Jags won this game, the Bills would be in the playoffs, Steelers would be eliminated, and the Bills would be in. Now, they still win the division later tonight, but they'd be in the playoffs if the Titans beat a loss to the Jaguars. I've been told that's not true now.
If the Jags win, the Bills have to win tonight to make the playoffs altogether.
Okay.
And they have to win the division. Like, they can't, the wild card is no longer an option for them if the Jaguars win. So that puts it in a position where.
Does that put Pittsburgh in?
If the Bills lose tonight.
So Jags win.
The Steelers in. The Steelers needed the Jags to lose or the Bills to lose.
One of the two. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
So they're rooting for Titans to win.
And the Dolphins.
And they're rooting for the Dolphins. So I think it makes it interesting where the Bills are definitely more motivated to win the division if the Jaguars win. So
they have to, right? They're out, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So as opposed to, okay, we're down. We don't necessarily need to. We can still get into the playoffs as a wild card, even if they don't win tonight. But that's not the case if the Jaguars win the game. So the Bills will be paying attention to whether Jacksonville wins, because that affects them and how important tonight's game actually is for them.
Yeah. See, do you think they care about being AFC East champs or just to get in?
I think they do. But I think that, again, depending on how the game goes out, the same thing with Miami too. Like, Miami's already in the playoffs. So if they come out and they're down like 14 points and they're so hurt everywhere, it's like, all right,
forget it.
We don't need, forget this game. Like, because they may have to play Buffalo again anyway next week.
And there's
depending
money
on how things shake out.
And there's money coming in, which is really wild. There's money coming in on the Dolphins, which I still don't really understand. The number's been driven down. It's back up now to 3. Okay, it was down to 2.5 for a second, and now it's 3. So that was brief that was there. Titans win today, yes or no? Because I don't think the point spread comes into play here. I think either the Titans win the game or outright, or the Jags win the game and they cover.
Yeah, this one's tough too, because the Titans, especially playing at home, they play better. It's Ryan Tannehill's last game, Derrick Henry's last game. Like, you're going to get a full effort from this Titans team that you usually won't get from a team that's, what's their record, like 4-12. Yeah, like you're bad. You're gonna, especially with the way Mike Vrabel talked about it today, like this week, talking about like how much he hates losing more than like he likes to win games. Like he talked like a coach that was like, hey, this is gonna be my last game. Like we're gonna go out on a high note. So I'm terrified to pick Jacksonville in survivor pick. I'm terrified of them just
Oh
because
yeah.
the Titans are in such a interesting spot where they can play all their guys and just kind of go out and bang. Where Jacksonville, like Trevor Lawrence is going to play in this game, but like how healthy is he? And that's problematic. So yeah, I definitely like the Titans with the points here.
If the football gods can hear me, Mike Vrabel, the coach of the Patriots next year.
And that's the way that that's like the rhetoric. It's just like you talk about the way that everything's being reported with Belichick, the things are being reported about Mike Vrabel. It's like, okay, like clearly we're starting to see like how this is going to like shake out if this is foreshadowing anything where it's like, yeah, Vrabel looks like he's going to be the head coach of the Patriots because it seems like he's going to be out after this game. So we'll
be
see.
Perfect. It's the perfect hire. It's the perfect bridge after Belichick.
Yeah.
It works out wonderfully, and you could keep Gerard Mayo. It's part of the same group. They obviously know each other. They could keep him to run the defense.
I think too, if you just look at how it reminds me a lot of the D'Amico Ryans hire. Like you're hiring a former player for your team that the fans loved. So you already have that acceptance there right off the bat, like without zero coach, and he has head coaching experience, and he's been a good head coach.
Good head coach, right? He's proven it. He's proven he can do it.
Yeah,
and that tough nosed nature is what I mean. It's not the Patriot way per se, but he's going to bring that culture that it would not be a monster culture change. Like I was at Nebraska when Bill Callahan came in and replaced Frank Solich, and they changed the entire culture, and it was an absolute disaster. Because you had a guy coming in who, wanted to throw the football. Zach Taylor was his, heir apparent quarterback to come in to coach, to be the guy, to be the coach on the field for that team. And it didn't work. It was a disaster. And like, you have to be very careful when you have hardcore culture built in to blow that up for something new. It can go south pretty quickly. So my teaser is Titans 10.5, Bengals -1.5. How do you feel about that teaser?
I don't think you're going to need 10.5 from the Titans.
Right.
Probably. Like that's the way I look at it. It's like,
I agree.
You may not need 10.5, but yeah, to lock it in, I think that's.
I think they might win outright. I really do. I think that's just the direction that we're seeing here. The number's down to 3.5 for the Titans. So there's money coming in still on Tennessee here at home against Jacksonville. Is Christian Kirk playing? Do we know?
He's out.
He's out. So my gosh. Okay. Look out. I mean, even a banged up team in Jacksonville going the wrong direction. They can't score really. Not great. Minnesota on the road against Detroit. The number now is down to 4. DraftKings at 3.5. Totals 47.5 for this one here for the Lions. This is a really hard game. I don't know what to do with this. Like my first gut says over, but I put a red line to this game saying, I don't know what to do with this game. Who wins?
I think it's Detroit. It's weird. The line almost seems kind of like a hedge where they're kind of projecting the Lions to like play hard for like 3 quarters, because if both guys were, or if both teams were super motivated to play, the line would be much higher than it is at 3.5. Like what have the Vikings shown again, besides playing games close, especially recently with Nick Mullins? Like they've been getting blown out by double-digit points with this latest rendition of their quarterback play. So with a 3.5, it's like, okay, well, we think the Lions are going to do enough, but then they might take the gas pedal. Like they take the foot off the gas in the end of the game, and then the Vikings will crawl back, which I think is just weird. I would rather just bet on, look, Dan Campbell wants to smash the Vikings. Like they want to go on a high note. This team needs momentum. Like this team isn't good enough to just be like, oh, we're going to rest our guys. Like the Lions are in the playoffs are going to be like viewed as underdogs, even if they're playing at home. Like if they have to play the Rams next week, so many people are going to be betting on the Rams against the Lions with Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. That's going to be a sick game. But at the same time, like the Lions know people are not going to be rooting for them in that particular matchup. So I think the Lions roll here. Again, Nick Mullins is basically Jameis Winston. Like that's what he is. Like he gets points for both teams because of all the turnovers that he creates.
Right.
I also like the over 2. Again, it's another game in a dome. Lions defense can't stop anybody. So yeah, I'm going with the Lions here.
The last game in the early window, Tampa Bay on the road against Carolina. Number opened at 6. It's down to 4.5. Total is 36.5 in this game, which is stunning given the fact that so many people like Carolina here to cover this number. What are you doing with Tampa Bay? Because they need this game. I don't know what to do with this. I mean, Baker Mayfield's banged up. He didn't practice on Wednesday. He's playing in this game. This Panthers team has been eliminated for months. Well, I mean, why do people like the Panthers here?
I think it's because everyone liked the Bucs last week and they burned you.
I didn't though. I was on the Saints.
No,
Like,
no,
I
no,
can't,
exactly.
so it's like,
No.
what do we do? Like, I can't. I feel like I'm opposite on that because I like Tampa today.
No, that's what I mean. And I think that people get tricked by the recency bias. It's like, I can't bet on Tampa Bay again because they burned me, but because you didn't bet on them, you feel they're playing the worst team in the NFL this week with the division on the line. Why would I not draft the or why would I not bet on the Buccaneers? So, I mean, yeah, it's their second chance to lock up the division. Again, they didn't have to win it last week. They didn't. I don't think that's going to happen 2 weeks in a row. So I think that the Buccaneers, who I think all season long have probably been the NFC South's best team, just all year. I think they're just I think they're gonna take care of business. I think that people are just afraid because of what happened last week when we know the NFL is so matchup dependent week to week. It changes so drastically. And what do I know? The Panthers are the worst team in the NFL, and it's not even close. We saw what their owner did. Like, this team is ready for the offseason. Okay. Like, they're ready to pack their bags, where Tampa Bay is ready to host a playoff game. So
it's so bizarre because I've been so cold in the month of December, and I went 3-0 yesterday, so I thawed out a little bit. But like yesterday, I was on the Steelers money line. Everybody was on the Ravens. I was on the Texans money line. Everyone's on the Colts. I'm on the Bucks today. Everyone's on the Panthers. I'm like, I don't know, because in a different universe, I'm perfectly comfortable being here. Like, I like being contrarian. I like going against people because I think most oftentimes the masses run off a cliff and they die. But I'm just like, why am I seeing the board so different than everybody else? Because I just don't understand how you could say, yeah, I'm back in the Carolina Panthers today at home. Why? Well, Tampa Bay was really bad last week. They're stumbling. They're banged up. I'm like, guys, the Panthers are horrific. Like, what are we doing with this? So, yeah, I'm on Tampa. Do with that with what you want. I lay the points here with Tampa. All right, to the afternoon window we go. Washington hosting Dallas. Numbers, the biggest one on the board. DraftKings already up 13.5 with a total of 47. You don't see many of these, Andrew. This is a Washington team that is ready for the golf course and to get the hell out of DC. Dallas kills bad teams, but Dallas on the road is different than Dallas at home. Can you lay almost 2 touchdowns with the Cowboys?
See, the process is you got to take the double digits at home, but Ron Rivera and the coaching staff are going home after the game. like they're done. So I just can't put money on Commanders when their entire staff is going to get fired. Like, what's like the morale at halftime if they're down? Hey guys, like, let's rally. Let's win. Like, no, like, hey, is the game over yet? Which is why my favorite bet in this game, Terry McLaurin under his receptions prop at 4.5. So he's gone over this number 2 times in his last 7 games. And again, we talked about how if they're down halftime, like, are we going to get this like amazing effort from Terry McLaurin? A veteran guy who, again, like, he's had a horrible season. Like, they're ready for the offseason. So Terry McLaurin under 4.5 receptions. That's my favorite prop of all the games this week, because that was the only one I was like, I feel the matchup dictates that he shouldn't get to this receptions. And then you also have all the other factors of the game itself where Sam Howell's playing. Sam Howell's been horrible his last couple starts. He doesn't have a connection with Terry McLaurin. The only times McLaurin has gone over his prop is when Jacoby Brissett has played in the games in the second half. So that's not going to happen because he's hurt. Right. So I like that receptions prop on the under for Terry McLaurin. But for me, I also like the game under because, again, you talked about, okay, how can I bet on the Dallas offense that struggles on the road? Just take the game total under because I think it's still pretty high. I mean, 46.5, I think is where it's at. 47. Yeah, I like the under. Just, I don't think that Dallas necessarily, they may win it by double digits, but I don't think it's a spot where, they're a lock for 30 points just because I don't think they really need to do that necessarily to beat the Commanders, who are not really going to put up a fight.
For you guys who tune in to hear the Wong teaser every week, there's not going to be an early window Wong teaser. Nothing qualifies, but the afternoon slate does. So I'm going to have to post this later as we get closer to kickoff for the afternoon window, the 4:00 games. There's multiple games we can come in here and bet on for Wong teasers, but nothing in the early window. This is the first that I've seen this for this season, just because of how crazy this week is. The only thing that qualifies, Cincy is qualifying. We've already teased them up. So that's one thing why I'm already on that. So I don't need to do it again, but we'll get to the afternoon window. There are 2 games I'm looking at for teasers that we can jump on. Rams on the road against San Francisco. This is generally an auto fire for me on the 49ers, except they're not playing anybody. Rams +4. You like LA on the road?
No. I'm not touching this game. Like, I just think there's other opportunities. Like, they're both playing backups. How incentivized is he? Like, does the teams want to win? Like, we don't know. Like, so
They're both in. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. So again, this one I scratched off because I'm like, there's no edge for me. If I really feel like I have an edge here, like I'm probably just overthinking things. And again, like I trust the lines in general, where I think that the 49ers will win the game because they are favored, and I'm not going to like shy away from that. I think that McVay cares less. I mean, they just really want to get Puka Nacua his rookie receiving yards record, the receptions record, and then get
him
out
out.
of there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get him out. Just force feed him and get him out. And the books know it because his number is jacked up at the moment. Yep. Eagles on the road against the Giants. It opened at 6.5. We're down to 5. Total is 43 in this game. Number coming down. Giants money coming in. Much like the Patriot game here, you got a rivalry game with one team going. Well, I guess both Jets and the Giants. The Patriots are going nowhere, but Eagles are going to the playoffs, but they're going to the playoffs leaking a whole lot of oil. Get right spot here for Philly.
I'm going to say no, because I think that they're going to
punt.
Look, we already see the Giants play them pretty close a couple weeks ago, and DeAndre Swift's not going to play in this game, so they're down their starting running back. He's not going to play. That's how you attack the Giants, is on the ground. I think it's really the Eagles are going to, try to get a lead at halftime, look up and see that Dallas is killing Washington, and be like, well, let's just pack it in. Like, there's no point in us risking anyone getting hurt at this point. So, I just like the Giants. They could win outright, but the Giants are going to try to play and try to win.
They win outright. The Philadelphia tomorrow morning is going to be unbelievable. Sports Talk Radio in Philly is going to be incredible. If the Giants beat the Eagles, they send them into the playoffs reeling, losing.
I mean, Brian Daboll wants to win this game. he's like, I need to get as many wins as possible.
Cardinals, Giants in back-to-back weeks before the playoffs. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. I mean, people believe that Nick Sirianni, if he loses this game and he loses the first round playoff game, then Nick Sirianni's gone, which would be incredible if the Eagles were to pull the plug on him. But that's how bad things are right now in Philadelphia. They are furious with the way their team is playing. All right, the next two games are in the afternoon window, and they do qualify for long teasers. These are two games I'm eyeballing that I will tease up. Let's start with what I am calling my wing game of the day. Now, there's always one game in which I have to have a very good thing to eat while I'm watching, because I'm going to be completely glued to it. I've got my 4-box going for my YouTube TV Sunday ticket, but the sound will be on this game. Green Bay hosting the Bears. I have been made fun of this because I call this the most interesting game of the year because of what can happen to the league based upon this game. We don't know what the Bears are going to do. If Justin Fields goes to Green Bay and wins that game, they could keep Justin Fields and give him a $300 million contract, which is basically what you're going to give a guy going into his fourth year for your quote-unquote franchise quarterback. Are you keeping Matt Eberflus? If he wins this game, everyone says 100% they're keeping Matt Eberflus. If they lose this game, they may draft a quarterback and change the entire NFL in terms of how the pecking order is going to go come the draft, and where we could see Drake May, Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels. So many things are going to happen here. You like Green Bay getting healthy here at home, beating the Bears, keeping the ownership going, or is it Justin Fields' time to shine?
Give me the Bears. Bears money line. That's the play I like. I like the Bears here. Look, Green Bay has been one of the teams I think that have been one of the hardest to bet on, because every time they play a good game, it's like they let down the next week because you buy in and they're like, well, who are they playing? Like, again, another team that's been so matchup dependent. And even though the Packers have been better against teams that they've played previously, these teams played week 1. And I couldn't pick two teams that look totally different than they did in week 1. Like the Bears defense was horrible in week 1. Justin Fields didn't look like he knew what he was doing in week 1. And even though Jordan Love has obviously improved as well on his end, that's why I like the over in this game. I think this game could go out over with two young quarterbacks that have played, I think, well above expectations this season. I think DJ Moore could have a monster game against his Packers defense. Is absolutely horrible. But yeah, no, I like the Bears on the money line here.
This is a tease. I'm taking 2.5. Circus Sports is at 2.5. Some are at 3 already, but I'm going to give the Bears 8.5 or 9 in this one and just say, okay, they may lose the game. Getting the wideouts back, I think, is big. I faded the Bears last week. It burned me. I'm going to jump in on the Bears here this week with the 8.5, and I'm going to pair it up with the next game, which is Seattle at Arizona. The total is only 47.5, and it was 48. It's 47.5. This game screams over to me with points, and I think you can take the home dog here at 2.5 or 3 and tease it up, and you can take Arizona +9 up against Seattle. First question is, do you like the points? Second question is, Seattle going to go down there and crush the Cardinals because they're playing really well?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the Seahawks are better than the Cardinals with Kyler Murray. Like I'm just like
Right?
I'm not confident saying, oh yeah, Seattle Seahawks have been a better team all year than the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray. It's I don't think that's true. So
Right.
I think that Seattle or Arizona is super live here as an underdog. Um, and again, it's another opportunity where this game could be a shootout. And I like taking underdogs and shootouts. All the games in Arizona this year have gone over. Every single one in Arizona has gone over the total. So in a shootout where it's back and forth, any team could score. I just like taking the team with the points. So yeah, give me the Cardinals.
I was doing 2 other shows this week, and both people that I did the shows with were like, if this game is not like with 35 points at halftime, I'll be stunned.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, these defenses, look at the way the Cardinals play, and then Seattle on the road. This just screams back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, points on both sides. I'm actually surprised it's only 47.5. I'm surprised it's not higher, closer to 50, but we've seen so many of these games getting up to 50 have not gone over. So I like the over in this game, over 47.5, and then Bears plus 8.5. And the Cardinals plus 8.5 as well here for a teaser, which may not be a long teaser, but I'm going to do it anyway. My other play is the under here for the Denver and Las Vegas game. Raiders are 6-2 to the under at home. 37's the number. Raiders are laying 3. There's 2 guys who are alive in the circa million contest. They've already chopped the 7 million. They're playing for 2, and they're both on the Raiders versus the Bengals. I have no idea. You like the Broncos outright?
No, you said versus the Bengals.
No. They've taken the Bengals. There's 4 guys left for 9.2 million. 2 of them are on the Bengals. 2 of them are on the Raiders.
Oh, okay.
So they're going up against each other on that for that pick, which I like the Bengals to win. And I don't know if I like the Raiders to win. They're going to play hard for Pierce today?
I think so. I think that this is going to be like their Super Bowl, and it's against Denver, against Jarrett Stidham. Like Jarrett Stidham, I mean, this offense could barely move the ball on the Chargers last week, and they're the worst defense in the NFL. Vegas has been underrated on defense all year long.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing at home. I think that they're excited about this game, even though they're not in the playoffs. Like this is one of these teams where I think that what was it? It's at 3 now, right? -3.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I jumped all over it when it was at 2.5 because I was like,
nice.
"Oh, give me a field goal." Yes, please. So I like the Raiders here.
Do you think Pierce gets the job?
See, it's super tricky because you get it from a locker room standpoint, but so much of what matters is about, okay, who's your quarterback and how is the pairing with him in the offensive play caller, whether that's the head coach or the offensive coordinator. And it's like Pierce isn't either of those guys. So it's very rare that you find some of these players that, okay, if they have Pierce, then they need to figure out what they're doing at offensive coordinator. Like it has to be the right guy that meshes with Antonio Pierce. Because you look at all around the league, it's like most of these head coaches are offensive oriented, and the ones that aren't, the teams don't know what they're doing. That's why Eberflus is such a hard guy to like peg down. It's like, okay, he's a great head coach, but like, what are we doing with the quarterback? Because he's not an offensive guy. That's why these guys that run out of steam like Belichick, like never really could figure out quarterback after Brady. That's why he's going to be gone.
Right.
John Harbaugh had that time where he was on the hot seat because he couldn't figure out quarterback either. But then eventually they figured it out with Lamar. They brought in Todd Monken. Things have been working out. So it is really tricky from that standpoint because having that offensive minded player is so important, or that coach is so important. So it really depends on, okay, if they're going to sign him, then who are they going to bring as OC to then pair with their quarterback? Who is their quarterback? Is it O'Connell?
Right.
Are they going to draft somebody?
No.
So there are question marks about that. And then maybe what Pierce brings to the table. And it's like, hey, this is my plan for the offense. Maybe that's kind of ultimately what dictates them and what they do.
The thing that plays into my mind with this is Mark Davis is on record, the owner of the Raiders is on record by saying the biggest mistake he's made in the last 20 years as the Raider owner was not keeping Rich Bisaccia as the head coach. And the uncertainty and the unease that it made inside the organization by then getting Josh McDaniels, bringing in an outsider, a guy who never embraced the culture, was always coaching basically Belichick light, and it never worked. And now Pierce comes in. He's a diehard Raider. He grew up a Raider fan. He understands the culture. He played in the league. He's hard-nosed. The locker room loves him. But Davante Adams is your best player, and you've spent the most money on Davante Adams. He has to be happy. Like, you have to use your best asset. So the offense has got to work. And with Aiden O'Connell, come on. Like I liked him at Purdue, but I never thought this kid was going to be a starter for a good quality team in the AFC West. So that question is such a large one. if he can answer it, I mean, I think there's a good shot. If they win today and they win impressively, I think there's a decent shot he gets the job. But you're right. It may not be the right move. It may be a long-term issue for the Raiders. 2 more games. KC on the road against the Chargers. Chargers are favored. Raiders are playing. I mean, Chiefs are playing nobody. Mahomes is not playing. Total's 35. This is the biggest no-watch game of the week for me. I want no part of this game. Where are you on Chiefs Chargers?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the scratch off on this game. I like the under, and we've seen reports where they're gonna play Travis Kelce to get him 1,000 yards, which to me seems really stupid. Like, what are you like, guys? It's an arbitrary number. Who cares? It's 1,000 yards. Like, oh, okay, I need another 1,000 yards on my resume. Like,
this is what the team cares about. The Chiefs are no longer a championship carrying team. They care about storylines. They care about individual accolades. This is a cultural problem for Kansas City. It's really wild. As people are out saying that Kelsey's too overexposed, he's too everywhere. They're going to reassess in the offseason how many commercials he's going to do and whatnot. Like, it's the biggest duh of all time. Like, somebody didn't say that maybe having Kelsey on 15 ad campaigns was a bad idea. So this is a dumpster fire of a team that cannot wait to get to the playoffs. And wait to get to the offseason, really, because I don't like their chances much. I know it's Mahomes and company, but I don't like their chances much. Finally, Bills, Dolphins for the AFC East Championship. I'm going to wait. If this game means the Bills are in when they win or out if they lose, I am all over Buffalo.
Yeah,
I'm all over. I mean, if Jacksonville is up, if Jacksonville has a lead and they're up by 10 points, 12 points, 14 points, whatever, I'm going to jump in and take Buffalo to win this game. Where are you on Miami? Because I know a lot of people here are on a table for the Dolphins.
Why?
Right.
What have we seen from Miami that believes that they can beat somebody good? Like,
why? Yes.
They beat Dallas at home. That's what they beat by a last-minute field goal, and Dallas is notorious for playing terrible on the road versus at home. So that's the one good team that they beat. A team that played Buffalo the week before and got destroyed.
Yep.
So, get Bills money line for me. Bills minus 2.5, Bills minus 3. Don't care. Like, there's a reason they're favorite overall at home or on the road. So yes, I think that it adds more fuel to the fire that if Jacksonville gets a lead, Jacksonville is up, then the Bills are win or go home altogether. Like, yes, I think that puts more pressure on them and makes them more dialed in to win this game against the Dolphins. Whereas Miami's so hurt all over the place. Like, they don't have to win this game. They can be like, what's better, that we win the division or that we are healthy in the playoffs? Like, there are teams that realistically, that's what they have to ask themselves. Like, what's actually more important? It's like, Miami, we know when they're healthy, they probably can't beat anybody because they have such an explosive offense, but it doesn't work if all their guys are hurt. So, yeah, I think that the Bills here is the way to play. And, watch that Jaguars game. They're up 14-0. Put more money on the Bills. And I think if I were going to make a long shot Super Bowl odd, like, that would be the Bills would be the team that I would probably bet on.
No, I've said this before, and I've made this bet. Don't bet the Bills to win today. Bet the Bills to win the AFC.
Yeah. Because
they have a really good chance of being up against the Ravens. And I have a bet on the Ravens to win the AFC at 11-1. And I think it's Buffalo versus Baltimore in the AFC Championship game. If the Bills win this game, I think they're going to win this game. So if you don't just like the Bills here, I think you have to sprinkle in on the Bills to win the AFC, because I think there's a real good shot of them playing against the Ravens. And because, look, they can go on the road. We know this, but they may be the 2 seed. If they win this game, they win the division, they're the 2 seed. They don't have a bye, but they'll have, a really fortuitous route to get to Baltimore to play for the AFC Championship game and a trip here to Las Vegas. Before I let you go, before we wrap, tomorrow night, Washington, Michigan. Who wins it all?
Well, my bets that I've tailed you on, I hope it's Michigan. That's what I'm hoping for, Matt.
We're on a 10-1. Let's go. Are you going to hedge at all?
Yeah, I pressed a couple on Washington plus 4.5, plus 5, and there's always a chance.
Oh, you're trying to middle it. Okay, so this is my brain. I gotta spend the next couple of hours, even tomorrow, figuring this out, because either I'm taking Washington plus 175, which I'm going to lay less money by doing it, less money down to do it, and then I just kick my heels up and watch the game, or I take Washington plus 4.5, and I want Michigan to win but not cover, and so I'm kind of trying to thread the needle there and win both bets. So I don't know which I'm going to do as of yet as to which side of the hedge I'm going to go on, but taking 4.5 is probably where I'll wind up being. But I got to figure that out. But man, go blue. Go blue. Michigan, go win it. It'll be awesome to predict that in August and land that 10-1 ticket on the Wolverines to win it all. Guys, if you haven't downloaded the BettingPros app yet, please go and do so. You can track all your wagers. It's really cool. It's free. It's easy. Sync up all your books. Download it now in the App Store, in the Google Play Store. It's great for the NBA. Cheat sheets, really good. You can go through and find all recommendations. You can do your own research, and you can trail other users as well. Download it today. Seamlessly track all your bets in one app with the BettingPros app. Andrew, thank you, my friend. We're not done, though. We got the playoffs. We're going into the postseason. We're back next week. I think we're doing 2 next week, Saturday and Sunday, I believe what we're doing for and hopefully player props will be back up and good, and we can bet them again because we'll be in the postseason. He's Andrew Erickson. I'm Matt Perrault. Thank you for being here. I'll give you my full card in the Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat coming up next. We're back next week for playoff football. Oh, Jesus Christ.